Hey, so welcome back to the channel. Guys, I'm doing an easy one this time around, but to be fair, bit of fun, and one that I've wanted to do for, well, ever since I started the channel, which is ranking the movies. This is a chill video, grab a drink, chill out, and you can either hear me absolutely praise the hell out of some films, which are great, or absolutely smack down ones that are terrible. Hopefully you agree with the list. It's ranking, it's a grading, and so yeah, I've always wanted to do one of these gradings. With that said, let's get into it. Right, let's start bad. Let's start really bad. And the Rise of Skywalker. Now, if you're new to the channel, then you might not have seen, but I did a whole video about destroying the Rise of Skywalker. Let's put that up for a second. And off it goes. And that is how you make the Rise of Skywalker actually work. Yeah, that film absolutely sucks. It's hard to say if it's worse than The Last Jedi. I think they're equally as bad, but bad for different reasons. I think The Rise of Skywalker is actually worse for like the member berries.
Remember Chewbacca again? Oh, I love to remember Chewbacca. Remember?
You know, for bringing back Palpatine the way that they did. They could have brought Palpatine back. I'm sure there was a way, but this certainly wasn't it.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
And then you've got like Lando just randomly showing up, and you've got space horses and everything. It's just plot holes everywhere. I mean, man, there's more plot holes than there is holes in a sieve in this film. So this is just awful, and I hate it. There's no lower than D in this tiering list, but it's D. If there were Z, it'd be Z. But that said, right, what have we got next? So The Last Jedi, right? Now, as I say, look, this is they're equally as bad, but for different reasons. The Last Jedi gave us the stupid end to Snoke with no apparent reason to it, who the guy was, or anything. It was just awful how they did that.
I cannot be betrayed. I see his every intent.
The stupid thing with the ship going into hyperdrive and hyperspace and cutting through the supremacy. I hated so much about it. Why did the Royal Guards attack Kylo Ren when he's like supposed to be, I guess, second in command, and he kills Snoke? So like, why didn't they just go, right, you're the new leader? And then now just everything about it is just awful. I can't think of one thing, like genuinely, I can't think of one thing to say good about the film. Yeah, I can. I can say one good thing about it. It ended. There we go. It ended. And so, The Force Awakens, right? I don't like The Force Awakens, obviously. I don't like any of the sequels.
No shit.
And I did a long video, so hey, if you want someone to listen to and you find my voice quite charming,
What?
then go watch that one. I'll pop a link in the description to that anyway. But I talked about how that film could have been done, and I threw out some ideas about the stormtroopers being sort of adopted and brainwashed as kids, and it could have been a really interesting story arc for Finn with his sort of rebellion against the First Order, and talking about how it should have been done with, like, actually they should have talked about how the First Order was built rather than it just existing, and just a bunch of stuff. But let's be honest, guys, it was just a New Hope rehashed, but with a bigger Death Star.
Ooh, that's kind of small. Yikes.
And instead of Luke, you've got Rey, and Rey's a female, and I just hated it. I hated how they killed Han off as well, and then yeah, just look, everyone else talks about it. It sucks. So these are D tier. If they could be Z, they would be. But in my opinion, the worst one, if I had to pick, it would be the Rise of Skywalker.
Rise Skywalker.
Wait a minute!
Huh? No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Then The Last Jedi, and then the Force Awakens in terms of worst to best. So probably in opposite direction in terms of how they got released. I think The Force Awakens, if it was a standalone film, if it was just completely on its own, it wasn't part of the Star Wars saga, it could kind of work, but it isn't, and it doesn't. So, D. So A New Hope, even though I put some of the things from A New Hope in like low categories, the Vader fight with Obi-Wan, what have you, guys, New Hope is an absolute S tier. It still stands up today, and I actually want to do something about that and why that film still stands up today. But it does. If you put this film in front of someone who's never seen Star Wars before, yeah, they might go, oh, it looks a bit dated, but there's no way that they would say, oh wow, this is from like the 70s, which is, I mean, I would imagine this film's older than most people even watching the video. It's certainly older than me. It still stands up today, and I know they've refreshed certain bits. They've improved the lightsabers in the duel, and they've added bits in which some things they needed to add.
Look, Jabba, next time you want to talk to me, come see me yourself. Don't send one of these twerps.
Other things they didn't.
Even I get bored sometimes. You think I had a choice?
But all in all, what a great film. But the reason why the film stands up so well is because the story's so good. It could stand alone on its own, but there was obviously more of stories to tell, hence why we got the films that came after it. But guys, it was monumental, and yeah, it's great. It's a solid S tier. And next I'm putting on Rogue One. I really like Rogue One. I don't know if there is people who dislike it. I don't really care. I think it's a great film. Does it tell a story that doesn't need to be told? Yeah, it does. But does it tell a story that doesn't need to be told, but in a really good way? Yes, it does.
You're goddamn right.
It explains why the Death Star had this design flaw. It explains it to us. Now, again, did we need it explaining? No, we didn't. But it does it. And it does it in a way that fits really well. Not only that, but there's great storytelling, there's great action in it, the characters are great, you know, you get to empathise with those characters, you log into them. I like the droid. I think the comedy value that the droid brings is great, and I know like C-3PO was supposed to be the sort of the comedy sort of droid, being sort of I guess a bit flamboyant in his mannerisms.
Plus, tag team robot wrestling. It's the mighty robots of Battlestar Galactica versus the gay robots of Star Wars.
Stop! Please save me, R2!
But the way that he's portrayed, again, very sarcastic. I liked it. I thought it was great.
I find that answer vague and unconvincing.
I really like this film. So for me, it's a solid A tier. They could have done things a little bit better. They could have done.
Quiet! And there's a fresh one if you mouth off again.
But you're really nitpicking at that point, and this film just is a great watch. And I've watched it a few times. I don't know, 4 or 5. I'd happily watch it another 4 or 5. I think it's great. Right, next I'm putting on Phantom Menace. There are bits to Phantom Menace that I love. I loved Maul. I loved the introduction of the dual lightsaber.
Nice.
Which I am talking about that in another vid. Qui-Gon Jinn were great. Obviously we get to see, you know, the introduction of Anakin as a kid and kind of understanding that journey and sort of seeing the torment he goes through as a child, particularly the abuse that he gets from Mace Windu. But I thought this film were really good, apart from the politics element. We don't want to see that in a film. The politics element is really, really boring. And then on top of that, and I have to say, guys, but Jar Jar Binks.
Misa got Jar Jar Binks.
I fucking hate Jar Jar Binks. Do you know, I never realised how annoying he was until I kind of started seeing him be like people taking the piss out of him. And like, I think in Simpsons they say Jar Jar Jim Bonks or something. And then I've seen plenty of people, big YouTubers, sort of doing videos taking the piss and everything. Even too much to say that was Jar Jar really the real Sith Lord and all this to, you know, I guess kind of some meme out of it. The reality is I just can't stand the guy. He's like, the character, sorry, he's just needlessly annoying.
You almost got us killed. Are you brainless? I speak. The ability to speak does not make you intelligent.
Got him!
Everything he does, the way he talks, the things that he does, the clumsiness, like he's just like needlessly clumsy, and it's not like a funny way like Kramer, for example. Seinfeld Kramer, the way that he's clumsy and how he moves, great physical comedy. Jar Jar, no, because you're a CGI character and it just don't work. So I can't do more than a C for this, but there are a lot of redeeming qualities in the Phantom Menace, so it kind of hurts to put it here, but it is what it is. Right, Attack of the Clones. I'm putting this in a B. Now, yes, we get some cringe moments in Attack of the Clones. We get some belters from Anakin, the sand.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere. Not like here. Here everything is soft and smooth.
And the interaction between him and Padme is just a bit cringe, to be fair. But all in all, I thought that Attack of the Clones were actually really good. I think it gets a worse rap than what it does. Let's look at some of the highlights here. Dooku is introduced, and Dooku's a great character.
I've become more powerful than any Jedi. Even you.
Underutilised in my opinion, particularly in The Revenge of the Sith, but he kind of had to go pretty quickly to...
You disappoint me. Surely you can do better.
I guess elevate Anakin. Then you've got the arena fight scene, which I thought were great. We get to see Jango Fett and understanding where the clones are coming from. So we've got all that. And yeah, I like it. I think Attack of the Clones is a good film. I think it is better than The Phantom Menace, which I know a lot of people go the other way. But there is less politics dragging you into this film and a bit more action. And, you know, we get to see Yoda actually fight, which, whether you like the CGI version of Yoda or not, look, it is what it is, and at least it happened. So, yeah, we've got that, which I think I like it. I liked it. So for me, Attack of the Clones had a lot of positives. It still has some negatives, which, you know, is why I'm still drawing it down into B category. But it is pretty good. It's watchable. And when I say watchable, like, you know, you can watch it a few times. It's a good film. I like it. Right, so next up, we have got Solo. I'm putting it at B. And I know people slammed Solo. I've heard a lot of negativity about it.
No shit, Sherlock.
But this is the way I see Solo, is that I thought that the story, again, didn't need to be told. We didn't need it. In the same way that we didn't need the Rogue One story to be told about why the flaw was in the Death Star. Did we need the stories that were put out in Solo? No, we didn't. But did we get to see how Han Solo became friends with Chewbacca? Yeah, we did, and I thought they did that really well. Did we get to understand how Han actually got the Millennium Falcon off Lando Calrissian? Yeah, we got that. Did we get to understand what the heck he run about when he did the Kessel Run in however many parsecs, in 12 parsecs?
Hey, girls. Anyone want to make the Kessel Run?
That'd be cool, but we only got 12 parsecs.
Hop in.
Yeah, that were explained. So, do you know what? It were good, and I actually think that the story and the characters behind it were pretty damn good. I think Solo is actually quite an enjoyable action film with decent stories in there, or story threads in there. And I really liked Woody Harrelson's character as well, Beckett. I thought Woody Harrelson did a great job of portraying a rogue, marauder, trader type character.
Thinking. I prefer to be the only one holding a blaster while I'm doing it.
Which sort of leads us on to why Han Solo sort of adopts that lifestyle. I just, again, it's one of those films that I love to hate. Although I don't love to hate, because I don't hate. I think it's great. Again, look, is it stories that needed to be told? No, it's not. But it's just a good watch. And I think it gets more of a harsh rap than what's needed. I actually think that if Solo had come out without all the fiasco related to all the sequel films, I think people would have adopted it a lot more. But I feel as though it's one of those films that people sort of bang on about because it's part of the Disney saga. And I don't dislike everything Disney has done. I do dislike some of the things that Disney has done, don't get me wrong, I'm pretty vocal about that. But I don't dislike everything that they've done by any stretch. And this is one of the films where I think they just gave free license and said, look, go for it, tell a story. And it's a good one. Did we need it? No, we didn't. But you could say that about any of them. You could say that about the very first film, A New Hope. But George Lucas wanted to tell a story in the same way that, I don't know. Look, I don't know who wrote Solo. I don't know who directed it. So it is what it is. But I thought it were a decent film. And people might just see it as a bit of a cash grab, but I thought it was a good film. So it's a decent B tier for me. Right, so next up we've got Return of the Jedi. Now I'm putting Jedi in A tier. Jedi was my very first Star Wars film. And I've got a certain, love for it because, I remember watching it as a kid around at my grandparents' house. Aww. And it's just one of those films, like for me, it's got more, it's got more nostalgic value for me. Just because, again, it was my very first one, and I just remember that fight scene at the end with Luke and Vader. And because I'd not seen Empire, I didn't know Luke had lost his hand in Empire. So I thought that when Luke chopped off Vader's hand, and then he was looking at his own like he had a robotic hand, that he was, as he destroyed Vader, he was becoming Vader, if that makes sense. Guys, I'm like 6-year-old, all right? But yeah, it has got those things for me. So I do like it, but there's some things that I don't like. I don't like the Ewoks. Now, I loved the Ewok film, cartoon as a kid. But guys, we've got Palpatine who says this.
It was I who allowed the Alliance to know the location of the shield generator. It is quite safe from your pitiful little band. An entire legion of my best troops awaits them.
So he's sending down his an entire legion, of his best troops, and they're getting bested by Han Solo, Leia, and Chewie, and a bunch of Ewoks. Really? They're your best troops, and they're shooting bows and arrows. And you see the bow and arrows bounce off the actual live action actors, but they're like, it's just, that is stupid. These.
We surrender. Hey, bro, come on now, dawg. Come on, man.
Stormtroopers are supposed to be elite troopers, and they're getting bested by little teddy bears. Let's be honest. So I don't like that. Other than that, I don't think there's a lot to dislike about Jedi as a film. I think it goes through the story very well. I think the way it has Luke to save Han. Taking on Jabba the Hutt. He then goes back to see Yoda. He, completes his training. He finds out the truth. He even though he already has been told by Vader that Vader's his dad, He finds out that actually, yeah, he wasn't lying, and he understands about, you know, the Emperor, and there's just a lot of things that I do like about this film. And I also, and look, this has got probably one of the best scenes in Star Wars, and I don't just mean for Vader, I mean across the board, and it's this.
Luke, help me take this mask off.
But you'll die.
Nothing can stop that now. Just for once, let me look on you with my own eyes.
No. Go, my son. Leave me.
No, you're coming with me. I'll not leave you here. I've got to save you.
You already have. Luke. You were right. You were right about me. Tell your sister. You were right.
Father. I won't leave you.
This scene, it just hits the feels big time. It's absolutely amazing, and yeah, you know, it's one of the films where it gets you. So it is one of, if not the best overall scene in Star Wars, which is a bloody bold thing to say, but as a film, it's like an A plus for me, because there is better. And so next, we've got Revenge of the Sith. Now, this is a tough one, to be fair, because I really like Jedi and I really like Revenge of the Sith, and I'm saying they're both A plus. Revenge of the Sith for me was probably the Star Wars films that I said I didn't grow up with, but I was an adult and I could appreciate them when they came out. That was the one that I wish I'd have gone to the cinema to see it. I didn't, but I just remember it, and I remember just thinking, this is flipping brilliant. And there are some bits to it that I don't like, and that sort of feel like it's a bit of a slug getting through them, but then you're moving on to the next parts that are really good. You've got some classic lines in there, like Obi-Wan.
Hello there.
And you get some great fights in there. The fight between them two is brilliant. We've got the fight between Anakin, Dooku and Obi-Wan. We've got the fight with Yoda and Palpatine. We get Palpatine in terms of his dueling and taking on Mace Windu. There's just a lot to like about this film, and I know that, you know, ultimately the Revenge of the Sith is about Darth Vader becoming Darth Vader, but I think they did it really well, and getting to see what actually happened. So like how he's he's lost his limbs and he's burnt and he's everything else, but I thought they did the construction element of Vader where, you know, he's finally putting the mask on and you sort of see Anakin disappear, and you can sort of see almost like a tear run down his side of his face, like Anakin's dead at that point now and Vader's taken over. Just really, really, really well done. Yeah, I just think this is, it's an emotional roller coaster. It's really well done. It is without question one of my favourites, without question some of my favourite scenes, and certainly some of the best fights. So it's up there with Jedi. I just for me, I just think it gives a little bit more than what Jedi does, but it's only because it's got more characters to throw at you, whereas Jedi never really had that many characters to throw at you, not really. So there we go. And then moving on to my last film. How could it be anything else? And how can I not put this anywhere else? Empire Strikes Back is almost like a faultless film. It is absolutely amazing.
That is correct.
And I don't even know if everyone kind of realises how damn good this film is. It's an unbelievably good sequel to start with, because it gives perfect positioning for where the rebels are, who have had this massive victory. For them, they've had this massive victory, they've taken out the Death Star, everything else, and the Empire's like, right, we're coming right back at you. And, they don't have the Death Star, but they've got the Executor now. See much more of I guess Darth Vader sort of taking control, and I guess it was sort of that a transitional phase for Darth Vader as a character, where in A New Hope he's more of a sidekick character. To be fair, he is a bit of a sidekick character, whereas now it's him. He's in control. He's out in the military. He's like the field marshal. He's the field commander. He's the general, he's the brigadier, he's the ranking officer, and I loved how they made Vader a more, I guess, sarcastic character. I've said this before, but I think that sort of sarcasm works really well for those type of characters, where he'll take out an admiral and promote another guy and just think nothing of it.
Apology accepted.
We got to see a great fight scene between him and Luke, and it's a great fight, is that, because we get to see Luke, who's not dueled before, and all of a sudden now he's up against Vader, and even though he's fought Phantom Vader, and he has, which I've done in a previous video, but all of a sudden now he's fighting the real thing, and he's just so overwhelmed. Like, Vader is just so much more powerful than he is. And what it also leaves us with, the end, is just fantastic, because I've said this before, but it's almost like when this film ends, there's another coming. There's more to look forward to, and that it is such a weirdly powerful thing. It's that anticipation, that looking forward to something. It's embedded in the film. It's part of the whole structure of the film to say, look, the next story's coming, because it is, and it positions it perfectly with us.
When we find Jabba the Hutt and that bounty hunter, we'll contact you.
Princess, you'll find Han. I promise.
And that, even that, you might just think, well, it's the middle film, so of course there's going to be that. But it's the way it's embedded in, it's just perfect. It really is. And so with the fantastic storytelling that you get through it, the fantastic scenery, the way it was produced, everything about Empire, and then you've got that on top of it, it just makes it S++, in my opinion. It is the best Star Wars film, in my opinion. I would argue probably one of, if not the best film of all time. And Empire is a really, really unusual film because I can watch Empire and I can watch that one and I don't feel like, all right, I have to rush to watch Jedi, and that's not a fault on Empire. It's because I already know what happens. But if I'd never seen Empire, if I'd never seen Jedi and I only saw Empire, I'd be itching to go watch what happens next. But I guess what I'm getting at is that Empire is so rewatchable because it's so good in so many ways, but I don't feel that compelled to go watch Jedi because I already know what's happened, even though I think Jedi is like an A. It's just, or an A+, it's just, Empire is just so good. But anyway, that's how I rank these films. I'm curious to know, do you agree with me? Or if you disagree, tell me in the comments. Which ones do you like? How would you rank them? I always think with rankings that it's a personal thing, and whose opinion counts? Mine. Joking. But no, I do love to hear, particularly in the comments, guys, as to what ones you think and what you like. I'm going to do the shameless plug now. So if you haven't already, please like, please subscribe.
As you wish.
I'm going to put a quiz in there as well, so have a look at the quiz, try and make it interactive to us, put in the Easter egg, obviously, and yeah, with that said, I will see you in the next one.